everyone, and welcome back to our Golden 20s podcast. My name is Tegan, and I'm joined with my co-host Sadie.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about all things winter arc. If you have been on the internet, you've probably heard about this term. It was coined by an influencer about how you shouldn't wait for January 1st to go for your goals. If you start in October, that means by January 1st, you already have a head start. You're way ahead of everyone and life is great. And while I love that concept, it's not always reasonable, but I thought it would be a good time for us to sort of revisit our goals. And I know this is Sadie, your birthday week, so you're probably doing some goal reflections as well. And we can talk about, some of the things we're trying to do this winter to be looking snatched and hot for spring and summer.
Love it. I'd never heard of Winter Arc until you mentioned it for this episode. I've been off TikTok for so long, you guys, that I'm out of what the cool kids are doing. So yeah, give me a chance to reflect, and I'm excited to share it with you guys.
Great. I think before we dive in, we're going to do a connection card. So I feel like we've had cards very similar to this, but this card says, describe a moment when you felt most alive.
This is a weird one. I don't know why this is what's coming to mind for me, but when I went to Bali, it was 2020, right before the pandemic. And it was my first trip to Asia and my second solo trip, but definitely my biggest solo trip. And I signed up, went with a group of, I think there was 14 other girls. I didn't know anybody, but this one girl and I really clicked on the first day. And I think it was, I don't know, maybe our second night. The first night was just chill at our villa. And then the second night we went out for dinner at this beach club. However, which sounds fancy, but literally anytime you go out in Bali, it's at a beach club. That's just how Bali does things. But anyways, me and this girl were let's go see the ocean before we go to dinner, because it was right behind the beach club, obviously. We're on the beach. And it had just stormed really badly. So the waves were enormous and the sand was wet and everything. But her and I were jumping around in the waves. And I remember thinking to myself, holy shit, I'm in Bali with this girl I don't know. And I'm having the best time of my life. She kept always being look around us, look at this huge ass ocean that we're in. And the water was so salty. It was these waves were enormous. Is that the word? Yeah, they were huge. And it was getting salt to my eyes. I was I'm so uncomfortable, but I'm just so happy. And then we went and we had dinner in this it was this very, I need to find what this place was called and to recommend it to everybody going to Bali. I can't think of it now. It was just very, I don't know, fancy. I felt bougie. I felt brave. I felt proud of myself. And for some reason, that's what's coming to mind for this moment of feeling extremely alive.
I love that. Yeah, that's such a good one. I feel for me, there's a couple of obvious answers, I think, but I'm going to pick a not so obvious answer. And for some reason, I'm thinking of this random night where Tyrell and I went out to the Cameron House, which is one of our favorite bars. And we were seeing a band that we really liked who kind of became our friends because we just liked them so much and we're always there. And there was one night where we were just there, having the best time, just listening to music, talking to people, making new friends. And we ended up staying out until this bar doesn't really close because a lot of the musicians live there. So it's they close, but you can still hang out there. So we hung out really, really late. And then we were walking home, and it was one of the nights of the time changed. And as we were walking, that was when the time changed. So I think it flips at 3 a.m. So it flipped from 3 to being 4. And we were walking home, and we're just this is crazy. We're walking home at 4 a.m. And we lived so close that we could walk. and we saw all these like police on police horses, and we were just like, whoa, this is crazy. And it was just like such a simple night. But this was like right before the pandemic. So then like some of the people in this band moved away, and we've just like never had a night like that again. There's been like little moments where it's like you feel the good vibes and you're like, okay, this is kind of feeling like that. But it was definitely a moment where I don't know that we'll have a night like that again. But in that moment, we didn't realize that. We were like, well, we could do this every weekend, not knowing what was to come. So,
yeah. I love that. It's those unplanned nights that just hold a special place in your heart, you know? I love that so much.
Great. Well,
awesome. Well, there you go. What a cute way to kick off this episode.
Yeah, exactly. So, as we were saying about the winter arc, it's all about becoming your best self. I know a lot of the girls who were talking about it were saying if you start October 1st, that gets you 90 days until the new year or something. Obviously, we've missed that, but I still think it's a good idea. I just love the concept of like, you don't have to wait for January 1st. You don't have to wait for Monday, or, you know, you don't have to wait for tomorrow morning. Every little thing makes a difference. And I just feel like the summer went by so fast. I can't believe it's already like the end of October. So I'm very excited about just being like, okay, what should the rest of this year look like? Because it's going to come so fast. And like, I don't even remember the goals I set. So I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah, I love that. I was really struggling with if I like this idea or not. And why I was struggling, it was kind of giving, like when you look it up on TikTok, it's like intense videos that show up. And it's like reminding me of 75 Hard, and I despise the 75 Hard challenge. Okay, like I really didn't like it, actually. And I really dislike all of these challenges. So it's ironic that I'm saying this, and then I'm gonna be like, okay, but anyways, here's my list of my winter arc, whatever. But what I think I like about it, or I guess just to finish, what I don't like about it is just how unsustainable and unrealistic these challenges are. And oftentimes it's thin white women on Instagram or on TikTok who are, you know, going to the gym twice a day to look like a Kardashian. Like, you know, it's just like, this isn't realistic for a lot of people. So this is kind of my beef with it. However, that being said, what I do like is, and the other thing too with this specific one is I feel like we've done episodes about like hygge and like leaning into the cozy and how winter can be like a great reason to hibernate and to, you know, be cozy. But I do think what I struggle with a lot of the time is taking that to an extreme, and then all of a sudden I'm like really down and like in kind of the winter blues because I've been only eating comfort food. I've been getting so much sleep. I've been staying in rather than going out. So then I was like, okay, this was me like processing what a winter arc is. I was like, okay, I kind of like the idea of setting goals. Obviously, I'm a big goal setter, to hold yourself accountable to like still showing up for yourself, because that's the one thing I do like about these challenges is despite them being unsustainable, you're proving to yourself, I can do this, and you're pushing yourself to see just how much you can do and like how capable you are. And I feel like it's also really important to have vision for yourself and prove, you know, you can show up and you can do the damn thing. So I don't know. I feel like if you've been seeing this on TikTok and you're like, really, girls, I don't know if this is like aligned to what you usually preach in your podcast, or at least for me personally, like, I don't know, maybe this perspective is a different perspective than what you see on TikTok, not Instagram. I don't think it's made its way to Instagram yet. Maybe by
That'll be
December
in January.
it will. Yeah, exactly. But in any case, that was kind of my 2 cents. And like, I feel like it kind of comes through in both the things, or both Tegan and I's winter arc, where it isn't as intense hustle as TikTok's making it be. But if you want it to be that for you, that's fine too. So I don't know. That was just my pre-ramble.
Yeah,
in case
no,
this
definitely
resonates more. Yeah.
The funny thing is, I see more of like memes making fun of the winter arc than the actual winter arc, where it's like pictures of like little animals in hats drinking tea, and it's like, when I'm talking about my winter arc, this is what I mean. And I only see content like that, so I feel like that's very aligned. I'll have to find them and we can post them on our Instagram.
Please do, because my TikTok is like literally like shredded girls in the gym being like, start your winter arc, your waist will be snatched, your like abs will be, you know, all of this stuff before January. And I'm just like, okay,
relax, please.
I don't know.
I
And
know.
it's just this like underlying theme of you're not enough when you're not grinding. And this is something I've struggled with. Sorry to just like dump all this on you guys and like jump right in. But this is something I've like struggled with so much, is like, I need to be productive. I have to be hustling, because this has been my entire 20s, where it's like, no, it's kind of nice to just be, you know, and to still show up for yourself, but also take time for yourself to like slow down. I don't know. So yeah, I need more of what's on your TikTok for you, Paige, because that is not on mine.
No, I did look up like the person who coined the term, the winter arc, and her video was very much what you're talking about. So it's like, it makes sense that that's where the girlies were going. But I was just like,
because I kept seeing it was like the fitness industry, the people who are like, this was a term for guys who hit the gym at 5 a.m. on the coldest, darkest winter days. They call it their winter arc. Yeah. So this is interesting. This is why I can't believe everything you see on the internet, guys.
Yeah, that's true. No, the one I saw was a girl, but she was very much being, she actually said the phrase something like, just because it's getting cold and dark doesn't mean it's an excuse to take your foot off the gas. Like, we need to keep grinding and stuff. And I was like, okay, please relax. I can't cope.
That's my entire TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all this to say, if you feel like you need to put your foot on the gas, here's some ideas. And if you feel like you just need to be cozy, we also have some ideas for that too. I'll maybe kick us off with the first thing I feel like I already kind of alluded to, but I think the back half of the year is just filled with lots of like family gatherings, lots of like indulging and things like that. So I think every time this time of year, my focus is really on like balanced eating. And a big part of this is because what I eat directly relates to my skin. Through the fall, winter, when I am indulging is usually when I have the worst breakouts. And then that leads to like a whole series of insecurities and body image issues and all of this stuff. So it all starts with what I eat. So knowing this, my first thing in my winter arc for 2024 is to have a balanced diet. And by what I mean by this is, I find I really lean into like comfort foods. I really lean into red wine season. I really lean into like tea and, you know, hot chocolate. But I need to balance that with still having like fresh fruit and vegetables. Not every meal can be soup and oatmeal. You know what I mean? I still need to be drinking water. I can't just be drinking tea and hot chocolate and coffee and warm drinks. And even around the holidays, like that's usually when I'm going for more wine or have more social gatherings where I'm drinking cocktails and stuff. But I find like mocktails have really become a menu staple at a lot of bars. So it's like, okay, how can I maybe have like 1 or 2 cocktails, but then switch to mocktails or water, things like that. Even if I'm going to a Christmas party, like I don't have to drink, you know? So this is kind of the first thing on my mind. I also think it's okay to go out to these parties, have a glass of wine, have some like sweet treats, maybe do some holiday baking, whatever that looks like. But I need to balance that out with still cooking like 3 meals at home through the week, and on the days that are a little bit more routine, making sure I'm like prioritizing homemade, well-balanced meals on those days, so that on the days that I am indulging, like, I don't know, not that I ever really carry around guilt for what I eat, but just to keep it a little bit more balanced.
I love that. I love that you're thinking about how crazy the holidays are, because I was not thinking about that when I made my list. I still think mine is all achievable with that, but that's a good flag, definitely, because November and December are crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's the other part of the winter arc that I do like, is it reminds you to stay focused on self-care despite how crazy the holidays get, you know? So yeah, I think similar to that, story tag before I hand it over to you, in one of our recent like fall routine episodes, I was talking all about my love for tea, and I've really latched onto this where I've been like drinking tea over coffee. And now, like for a few weeks now, I've only been drinking coffee after I eat breakfast or only on the weekends. Like it's really turned into like more of a like, I don't know, nice, sweet treat kind of thing rather than like a necessity to start every day. And I've been feeling a lot better. I've been sleeping a lot better. Like, I don't know. So I also have for my winter arc to prioritize tea over caffeinating on coffee.
I love that. Yeah, that's so good. I think my first sort of goal is something I've talked about previously, but it's to prioritize self-care. And I've realized that while being in this new house, any free time I have, I spend fixing up stuff on the house because I'm like excited about it and I want it to look nice and everything. And so I think for me, prioritizing self-care means like booking appointments that are for that. So I've had this like aha moment yesterday. So I booked myself like a haircut for Christmas. I want to book a facial before the end of the year. I've been working to be more consistent with my manicures and pedicures. And like, this shows how crazy I am. The only reason I've been consistent with that is because I get my nails done next to a Value Village. And so I'll be like, well, I can just bring some clutter I don't need from the house to the Value Village, and then I'll get my nails done when I'm there. But it's like, girl, just get your nails done. Why does it have to be house related? But this is the way my brain works. And I want to book a massage because I have massage benefits. And I think I've only had one massage this year. And I'm like, I should use those benefits. I'm paying for them. Book a wax and do Othership monthly. I'm usually pretty good with that. I think I've only ever missed 1 month. But I've also referred some friends. So I have like extra credits. I could go more than once a month. And I just like haven't because I haven't been prioritizing it, even though it like really brings me joy. I was doing a journaling page this morning about like listing things that bring me joy. And I was like, why am I not doing these things? Like, Othership brings me joy. I pay for a membership. Like, girl, just go. So that is my number one, is to like book time to do self-care. Because I know if I don't book it in, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Especially like literally booking it in with an appointment or signing up for a class. Like, I feel like if you're someone who does put self-care on the back burner because there's always something else that's more important, I feel like that's a really good tip to holding yourself accountable.
Definitely. And also, like, if you're someone listening who's like, I want to do some self-care, like, I want to look nice for the holidays, book those appointments now. I booked my haircut because I saw my hairstylist being like, FYI, if you want a haircut for Christmas, you better be booking now because I'm getting full. And it's the same like with manicures. There are lots of people who only do these things like right before the holidays. So it's good to like book these things out early because a lot like the salons and things can get really busy as well.
Yeah, good pro tip. I think the next thing on my list is something else I mentioned in that fall routine episode, which is all about waking up earlier and at a consistent time. So the backstory here, sorry, every single thing I say, I have to explain every single thought that went into like me coming up to this point. But anyways, as you guys maybe know, I ran a 5K last weekend and the race was at 9 a.m. And I was telling people I'm nervous about this because I only ever run at night. And everyone's like, running in the morning is very different. It's harder. You need to practice this like at least once before your race. And I was only running 5K, so people weren't like too concerned. But everyone's like, you need to like get up, you need to eat, you need to wait 2 hours and then go for your run. So the week leading up to my run, I got up twice to run in the mornings. And oh my God, you guys, I was like, I understand why people do this. Again, I worked from home that whole week. So it came from a place of privilege where it like, I could get up at 6, eat, go for a run at 8, come home, shower at 8:30, like go to my desk, log in at 9, and you know, that started my day. Where I know not everybody did. On my go to office days this week and like moving forward, I will not be running in the mornings. But all this being said, it was showing me just how magical mornings can be. And even on my race day, I was like, I have to take the subway at like 7 a.m. downtown. Like it's just going to be homeless people probably. Like it's probably going to be not the best vibe. But it was a lot of people going to the race as well, which makes a lot of sense. But it was like all these older couples who were out starting their day already. There were people like groups of friends with their Tim Hortons coffee. Maybe they were going to support friends at the run. Like I don't know what the story was, but I was like, wait a minute. people are up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning taking the TTC. Like, it just like was this whole unlock for me. And that feeling I had through the weekdays of being so productive before I even started my day at work. Like, I hear people say this all the time for those like morning workout type people. But once I experienced it, I was like, this is actually a really great feeling. And I went to bed much earlier those days. I had a really great sleep. So I'm like, maybe this is something I can kind of work into my winter arc, especially since it gets, as we know, darker so much earlier through the winter. It might be nice to go for like a morning run on my work from home days to see the sun come up, enjoy a little bit of daylight. Like, I don't know. So this is something I'm toying with. That being said, I also know how hard it is to get out of bed. And the part that got me up was I'm waking up at 6 to run at 8. I'm not actually running at 6 in the morning.
Right.
So I have these 2 hours where I like ate breakfast. I'm kind of like letting my food settle before I run, where I was just like reading in bed, drinking my tea. Like, it's very dark, quiet, slow, and I really enjoy waking up that way. So I don't know. All this being said, I'm trying to bring this energy into my winter arc because I think I need it.
Yeah, I love that. When I went to watch the race, had to take the bus at 8 a.m. and the bus was packed. I had to stand. I was like, people, what are we doing? I also had a sign. So I was on this packed bus with a sign. Everyone was looking at me and I was like, you're the weird people for being on the bus at 8 a.m. But
yeah,
the world keeps moving.
Right? And on weekends especially, like, I love, again, sleeping in a slow, lazy morning on a Saturday morning. But usually it's like noon by the time I've ate breakfast, I've done my hair, makeup, put on some sort of outfit. And now I'm finally getting started on the day to like hit up the grocery store, do my cleaning, like whatever it is, if it's meeting up with friends, like anything like that. And I'm like, I could have done so much more in my day had I actually started a little bit earlier. So this is not probably revolutionary to a lot of people, but to me it is. And I'm like, I really think I need this in the winter. And then I'm hoping to bring this like kind of into my 30s as I take on, the last year of my 20s. But I don't know. New unlock for me.
Mornings.
Yeah.
I love that. I do know like some people who are morning people and they always seem like they have their life together.
Right.
So I am very jealous of that.
Yeah.
I think the next thing I had on my list is like my number one besides the prioritizing self-care. So my number two, I don't know why I said that, but it's more physical activity. I have been so terrible at the physical activity. I still play hockey once a week, which is like quite active. It's like strength and cardio, but it's only an hour a week. Like, it's hard, but it's not good enough. So that's a big thing for me. Like, I haven't even explored my neighborhood walking yet. And I've lived here since August. So where in my old house, we would walk literally every single day. Didn't matter like rain, snow, we were out there. So I really want to prioritize that. Same with just like using my standing desk, just like making an effort. I do find I walk more in general here just because like the house is bigger and there's stairs, but it's, like I said, not enough. Another thing I really want to do before the end of this year is try a reformer Pilates class because this has been on my list for like probably a year at this point. And I've just never done it. And I'm like, why haven't I done it? Like, just take a class. It's not that hard. So that is one of my goals before the end of the year. I haven't decided, like, there's all these fancy studios where I'm like, do I want to do that? Or do I want to try and find a local studio? I haven't decided, but I have decided I am going to take one of these classes because I think I would really like it. I struggle with like high impact exercise because I have bad knees. And so I hear that this is all the rage. So that's on my list. I also want to get back into doing yoga at home. I was always not good at being consistent with that because I never had space to do it. So in order to do it in my old house, I would have to like move my coffee table and it was just like a whole thing. And so it just gave me easy excuses to not do it. But now I'm like, don't really have an excuse. I've got like a whole office I could do it in or like a whole big ass living room I could do it in. So I want to prioritize that because this year, January 2nd, I'm going to do the 30 days of yoga with Adriene. And I just want to be like prepped, feeling good for that. So that's my second big thing.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but Yoga with Adriene does monthly playlists year round.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like 30 days of yoga challenge, but rather than a challenge, it's just like a playlist. So you could use that as like a guide, you know, for like November or whenever. But yeah, I love that. And I also think you'll love Reformer Pilates. I've also not done it, but I can see it being something you would love where, it's like low impact, but like very effective. And yeah, I feel like you'll love it.
Yeah, it's on my list. And all of my friends who do it like are obsessed with it. And I like when we go to Othership, there's Jaybird right there. I'm like, I could have like a little day where I go there and do Othership and just have a grand old time. But
yeah, grab a Mandy's salad after and there you go.
Why not?
I love it. The next thing on my list is also related to fitness and exercise, and that is going back to running. So a big goal of mine this year was to run a 5K with my best friend. We just completed that. And as soon as it was done, I was like, that's it. I'm running a 10K next year. So I'm hoping my friend joins me. Even if she doesn't, my sister is like, yep, we're racing together. It's done. She found the race. She texted my other sister. She's like, this is happening. So I know for sure I'll at least have them to do it with. And we're going to run a 10K. So that is at the beginning of May. They keep telling me, my sisters, that the first 5K is the hardest. The next 5K, not so bad. And then a half marathon is a killer, which I have zero intentions to ever run a half marathon or a full marathon. But I do want to give a 10K a chance. So I also really prefer to run in the winter, to be honest. So I feel like it'll be nice to get back to running twice a week, or at least stay consistent with that. I say get back to it, but I've been doing that fairly consistently for the past few weeks and months to prep for the 5K. So that's exciting. And then I also find that running twice a week helps me reach 5 to 10K steps a day. And I was just saying to Tegan and my friend after the race that I really feel like I have better body image and just feel better about my body because I've been way more active, obviously training for this 5K, but even commuting to the office twice a week, and my steps are just up pretty much double what they were this time last year. And I really feel like I'm feeling better because of that. So I don't know. I just want to keep my daily step goal in mind, especially through the winter where it is harder to convince yourself to get outside, go for a walk, get those steps in. I'm really trying to hit 5 to 10K steps a day.
Yeah, that's such a good one. I feel like physical activity is probably on a lot of people's winter arc goal list. Mm-hmm. I think another one for me is to try and be more consistent with my skincare. I have found that my skin has looked so bad this past month, maybe 2 months even. And I think it's probably stress related more than anything. But at the same time, I'm I should try and be more consistent with my skincare routine. I have all of these nice products that I paid for just sitting there. So I really want to try to get more consistent with that, as well as drinking more water. I have a lot of urinary tract infections, and I think it's semi-related to stress and also not drinking enough water, and it's just been bugging me so much lately. So also trying to do that and eat more whole foods, but really just try to use my skincare products, especially because my intention's to buy another beauty advent calendar this year, and you get so much skincare in that. I'm I need to start clearing out my little drawer. So that is also a part of it.
I love that. You mentioned drinking water, and that is the next thing on my list as well. So hydrating, yes, your skin, but absolutely everything. So I feel through the summer when it's hot, I just want to drink water, but as soon as it's cold outside and I'm cozy at home, I just want to drink tea, coffee, hot chocolate, like I was saying earlier. So this is, again, not revolutionary, but something I just considered doing was usually I keep my Brita in the fridge But I'm like, no, I don't want to drink it because it's cold. So I'm just going to leave her on the counter, drink her room temperature through the winter. And that's actually been a game changer for me. Again, so simple, but now I'm not like dreading drinking water. So I can stick to like drinking at least one of my Stanley cups a day, even like 2 or 3, depending if I'm like going to hot yoga or did a run or anything like that. Those days I make sure to drink extra water, but at least 1 Stanley a day. I also, on the hydration front, want to apply that to my body care, skincare as well. I love taking bubble baths, especially in the winter. So I have like a moisturizing, like oil infused bubble bath that I love. Also applying body lotion, lip masks, hand cream, like face masks, all of that. And then I also have really bad sinuses. So last year I finally bought a humidifier and it was a total game changer. So not only for my sinuses and like not having sinus headaches all day every day, but also for my skin and for my cat. Like she got such bad like dandruff and she was so staticky. We're now having a humidifier running throughout those really dry, cold winter days. I feel it's just better for both of us. So I'll be whipping that out as well to add some hydration and moisture to my apartment.
Love it. Yeah, that's definitely a good one for the cold winter months. I am going to try to prioritize like the slow living at home, which I feel like I've been doing a pretty good job at, but I just want to like continue being consistent with that. And what I mean by that is just like being chill, being calm, spending time at home, trying to like save money and focus on like homemade meals, crafting, just like playing games, watching movies, being cozy, having early bedtimes, reading lots of books, and just like keeping it slow and chill because I know November and December are going to be crazy and it's going to be like stressful. And so to avoid burnout, want to just try and keep it nice and cozy and relaxing.
I love that. I have reading on my list as well. And I made it a little bit more tangible in the sense of I broke down, most of my books are like, okay, hold on, let me back up. So I need to read 7 more books to reach my annual reading goal of 25 books. And that feels very daunting. However, a lot of the books that I'm wanting to read are like between 300 to 400 pages. So I was like, okay, if I read 50 pages a day, which is pretty like realistic considering I could read up for like an hour to 2 hours in the morning and then an hour to 2 hours at night. So like that is a lot of reading time in my wake up and wind down routine where I can read at least 50 pages, if not more. But committing to 50 pages, I can crush a 300-page book in like a couple days kind of thing. And this unlocked being like, okay, this whole like 7 more books in 2 months essentially is a lot more manageable than I was giving myself credit for. So that is, where this whole 50 pages a day came from. But that being said, I just want to make sure I am continuing to read, even if I don't reach 25 books for the year. I feel like I put in my best effort kind of thing. And actually, my sisters, again, not to bring them up again, but they were like, you read huge books this year. Like I started playing around with fantasy. Yeah. So it's like sometimes you need to like let go of the goal to be like, okay, but I also crushed like 3 600-page books where I never done that before. So trying to keep that in mind. But in any case, I want to read more. Like you said, Tag, cozy activity, good form of self-care, good way to disconnect from screens, good way to like educate yourself, read new perspectives, hear other people's stories, all of that. But I have reading on my list too. And then kind of similar, but not quite, I kind of fell off my daily gratitude journaling. So I also want to get back to that. That used to be like a core part of my morning routine, but I'd say probably maybe in September, it kind of fell off and I don't really know why. So I feel like I want to get back to that through the winter months as well.
Love that. Yeah, my last point I wanted to bring up is less screen time. I find that when I'm stressed, my screen time like goes through the roof because I'm just like, I want to shut off my brain. And not that it's like a bad thing because it's like I deserve to like chill and be on my phone. Like it's all good. But it can be a lot. And I convince myself to like use my screen time because it's my job, where I'm like, I need to know what's going on like on TikTok. So I need to be scrolling. But it's like, it's not really making me any more creative, where I'm like, it would be more creative for me to like put in a prompt in ChatGPT and be like, give me 25 TikToks to make instead of scrolling. You know what I mean? Like scrolling on TikTok for 3 hours isn't giving me the creativity if I was just like going out and filming things. So I'm really trying to cut back on that. And I feel like I have been doing an okayish job, but I really want to prioritize that because I find once it's getting darker, it's easier to spend so much time on your phone. So trying to just be aware of that, playing with the idea of like deleting some of my social media, but it's really hard because it's like my work, so I'm supposed to be on some of it, but we'll see. But less screen time overall.
Yeah, I love that. Great. Well, there you go, guys. Our hopefully not super hustly, but also a little hustly winter arc. What is this? Bucket list? Goal list?
Goal list. I don't know.
People kept saying create a list of rules for yourself. So I feel like those are our rules for ourselves to have, just a balanced, well-rounded winter ahead, I guess. And as crazy as it is to be talking about winter, November 1st is this Friday. Like, that is wild.
Yeah.
So anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. It is me who closes this out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. Did I open this one? No. But thank you guys so much for listening. We drop a new episode every single Tuesday. So make sure you are subscribed and following on whatever app you're listening to this so that you don't miss a new episode. You can also find us on social media. We're at our Golden 20s on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, all of the places. We also have Spotify playlists, and we are on Patreon, which is the best way to support this podcast for as little as $2 a month. You receive all of the episodes early as well as completely ad-free. So if you are an avid weekly listener, check us out there. And I think that is everything. So thanks again for listening. We will see you next Tuesday.
Bye.